If I were given the chance to rename Nikki Grimes's book Ordinary Hazards, I would rename it A Place of Light. Maybe this is a surprising rename for Grimes's memoir about growing up abused, neglected, and terrified. Consider the poem On Our Own, where the title Ordinary Hazards comes from. Grimes describes being left with a babysitter who would lock her in the closet with her sister as soon as their mom had left. Grimes ends the poem with these lines: "Demon lived inside of us for years, embedded in our twin fears of the dark." Darkness stalks Grimes throughout Ordinary Hazards in the form of her schizophrenic mother who loses custody of her daughters multiple times, leaving them in foster care, a sexually abusive stepfather, an absent father, and violent neighborhood bullies. In this carefully crafted memoir in verse, Grimes carves out a path of light through the darkness. Her singing, her relationship with God, and eventually her writing are all like beacons or flares shining through the darkness. This book could be your flashlight, a sharp beam that cuts through the darkness that presses in on you. If I could, I would place this book in the hands of every young person whose life at night includes pushing their dresser against their door as extra precaution, as Grimes does. I would give it to anyone who has been locked in a closet, literal or figurative. This book is for anyone who has been asked to grow up too fast and find their way through the pitch black. If you've never read a novel in verse before, Ordinary Hazards is a great place to start. Listen to the flow of Grimes's words. Why did Mom love liquor more than Carol, more than me? Why did Dad let strangers take us away? Why did Grandma refuse to come to our rescue? Why didn't they love us? Why didn't anyone love us enough? Why? I leap out of bed, switch on the light, grabbed a piece of paper and a pen, stabbed the page, and let my thoughts gush like a geyser, shooting high into a moonless sky, then falling down on the page I held captive till every line was stained with my feelings. Grimes flings the spotlight on the dark corners of young adults' real lives, and in doing so, she gives us all the gift of sparklingly clear night vision. I would give this book 5 beacons of light out of 5. So now on to my reflection part of my book talk. I found it really difficult to choose a book to talk about this week. I decided to take up Cleaver's challenge to do a book talk on a book you didn't like. I did like Ordinary Hazards, but I placed it in 3rd out of Stamped and The Rise and Fall of Charles Lindbergh. In addition, I thought about Dr. Kindy's quote about books as protectors. And I thought that Ordinary Hazards could be a book that was a protector for young people. I chose the rename hook this week because I really felt like the themes of darkness and light were consistent themes throughout the book. Maybe more consistent than Ordinary Hazards, though I wouldn't second guess Nikki Grimes. I also thought that Grimes' end to the book, where she refers to places of light, was really beautiful. This week's hook also really helped me to think about who I wanted to address in this talk, namely people who are trapped or who have been trapped by darkness in their lives. The Dr. Kindy quote, it keeps coming up for me, about keeping racist history from young people to protect them, when really it's learning about racist history that would protect them. I see a connection between that and the themes in Grimes's book. I think there is some part of me that might say, oh, this book is too dark for young adults. But of course, this book is about a young adult, and these things are happening to young adults right now. So while I think everyone could benefit from reading this book, I really tried to think about how to talk up this book to kids who are experiencing really dark things like sexual abuse right now. I think that memoir is a great introduction to informational books for young adults. Reynolds says in Stamped that many readers are resistant to history books, so he writes a not history book. I think many readers are also resistant to anything that resembles a textbook. I really like memoir as a gateway genre to the broader category of informational books. I'm still finding it really challenging to connect books to specific readers. I'm realizing that I don't really spend any time with young adults and haven't since I was a young adult. I have my own memories and experiences to draw upon, but I think I could get better at this if I just spent more time around young adults. I'm happiest with the way I was able to keep the theme of darkness and light going throughout the book talk. Thank you so much for reading my reflection or listening to my reflection and talk.